I just,
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Call to order the City Council meeting for Monday, May 19th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Val.
Mark Bittner.
Here.
Shannon Derby. Here. Bill LeClaire. Here. Doug Brandt.
Here.
Tim Petrie.
Here.
Bonnie Shinny-Lunas. Here. Scott Steckmesser.
Here.
Adam Wahusky.
He, I think, is running late tonight. We didn't get any indication whether he
Right,
was
I
here or
spoke with him
not.
earlier today. I expect he will be here, but obviously a little late.
Carla LeClaire.
She is absent this evening. Okay, before I continue, just so everyone's aware, we do have the puck at the table tonight, so please use your outdoor voices if you need to speak at all tonight. On to 4, consideration of any council member requests. We don't have any. Like I said, Darla is not able to participate. We can skip over number 5, public hearing. We have none. On to number 6, input from the public. If you wish to address the council, please step up to the podium on your left and state your name and address for the record. I'll just look at the 4 people that are the only ones here tonight. Okay, nothing for input from the public, so we'll go to number 7, council communications, letters and other communications from citizens. Anyone have anything tonight? Yes.
I had one resident, I don't want to use the word complain, they don't like the noise that goes on sometimes past 11 when it comes to festivals. And I don't know for sure if that bothers her more, or maybe sometimes people have too much to drink and then they're yelling in the neighborhood. So, and then I had one, well, we all did. I'm pretty sure we all got this communication from a resident that there's a lot of, he's having a problem in the neighborhood. I should have summarized this and I didn't. With a lot of cars belonging to one house. And then he was wondering if there should be an ordinance against it. It does seem like a lot if it's more than 5. But anyway, that's it.
Yeah, I can assure you, the police chief, I think that came in on the weekend, and that weekend was in charge with the shift commander as to follow up. I believe there were no unlicensed vehicles. Yeah, chief, if you want to address it. And follow-up continues as far as observing the condition.
Yes, Larry.
Okay, that's a place to go anyways.
Never mind. So anyway, we did follow up with that. There were 2 vehicles that didn't have front plates on them as well, but you don't have to have a plate on a hobbyist vehicle. So they get a hobbyist plate on the back and there's no front plate that's issued. So they were okay with that. So they were all licensed that were out there. So no violations. They were marked for 48-hour parking because you still have to move the vehicle every 48 hours. One of those did get a ticket. So there was already a ticket given out. So I don't know what else to tell you, but as far as too many vehicles and whether you guys allow that, I know that came up in the past and there was a lot of discussion with council, and one of the reasons they chose not to, whoever was on the council at that time, was because you also have families that have a lot of kids, and I don't know where you run that, because you could have 3 grown adult or aging children, you know, that are 16 plus that now have vehicles, and you could have 5 vehicles outside a small family. So what you guys choose to do with as many vehicles, that's up to you. But I do know that we addressed that house and that person was cited.
The thing is, I don't know if I would even vote for no more than 5 vehicles, but there are some places in 2 Rivers where parking is really tight. And that's what I often think about too, especially in the older neighborhoods, because there's some people yet that have 1-car garages.
Yeah, I remember you bringing it up, you know, and it came up when we were talking about short-term rentals and whether or not to limit the amount of spaces and have a certain amount of spaces for those. So I know where you're coming from, but I don't know what that correct answer is. I know this case, I know this case is an exceptional amount of cars, and we've addressed a business operating out of that residence. We've addressed parking violations. We've addressed a lot of things. The latest one too that we addressed with that individual was when he has video of people squealing tires and things like that, it needs to be brought to us at the police department so we can address it, we can cite accordingly, not to post it on Facebook or just give it to council members because we can't do anything unless we know about it. So.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I know you did have one other contact council communication on Thursday night last week regarding sign ordinance, zoning, and some regulatory things. There has been a follow-up contact, as I requested of the individual, to the inspections office, and they're always more than happy to answer those questions. Yep.
Perfect. Then on to number 8, council reports from boards, committees, and commissions. Anyone have anything?
Sharon Sager is now the president. KDOT is the VP, and Dave Pennecutter completed his term.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jen.
Anyone else? The city manager recruitment and selection committee met last week, Thursday. We went through 21 resumes, or not resumes, but applications that were submitted, and we narrowed it down to the top 8. The firm that is helping us with the selection, they are doing their background checks and have contacted those 8 people to submit videos, which we will be reviewing on Wednesday evening, here next door.
Probably in the committee
In the committee room. So if any council members want to come, they are certainly welcome to attend. It is closed session during that time because the names are still confidential yet, so we didn't want those names to come out. So if you want to come, council members, you can. Otherwise, we'll be providing those names once we get down to 3 or 4.
And Councilor Shimon, so when we last talked, you were not going to be able to make the regular meeting, or the meeting of the committee tomorrow night, or I'm sorry, Wednesday night? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, some stuff changed.
Okay, very good. I was going to say, otherwise, we would have the videos available tomorrow afternoon if you wanted to view them here.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
After that, number 9, city manager's report.
Okay. As you noted, we do have some invited guests tonight, as listed on the agenda. Wendy Brandt from the Two Rivers Board of Education and the Youth Apprentice Program and Employability Skills Co-op Coordinator, Lisa Klein, are here to talk about youth apprentices at Two Rivers High School. I know they'll acknowledge them too, but I thank our District Administrator, Diane Johnson, and Board of Ed member Gary Shoplet for being here as well. Thanks for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us tonight. I wanted to express our appreciation from the Two Rivers School District to the City of Two Rivers and the department heads for taking part in our Youth Apprentice Program. It's giving the students a really great opportunity, and it's a program that's really taking off. So I'm going to have Lisa Klein come up. She's the program coordinator, and a little bit about Lisa. She's been with the Two Rivers School for 30 years, and she took the role of College and Career Readiness Coordinator in 2020. She works with students in the Youth Apprentice Program and the Employability Skills Co-op, and program assisting them with the employment in school, and also coordinating the Rising Phoenix program. She is a busy lady.
Good evening. So we talked a lot about the Youth Apprenticeship Program, but some people don't know what the whole scope of the Youth Apprenticeship Program is. So it's a 1 or 2 year earn while you learn program for high school juniors and seniors. And this program pairs work with related instruction. So the student is always taking some type of related instruction, whether that be technical training, machining, healthcare, those courses that coincide with their placement. The program implements a dual training system so that they're incorporating their technical knowledge on their job. Wisconsin was the first state in the nation to offer youth apprenticeship in 1991. Two Rivers followed shortly thereafter. Manitowoc started in 95, we started after that. I couldn't find those dates, but I can tell you that from its inception until about 2016, we averaged 2 to 4 students in youth apprenticeship. This year we had 46. Next year we've already had over 50 students that have been hired by employers in Manitowoc County, including the city. So last year, law enforcement, fire protection, project management, and cosmetology were added to the 16 career pathways that students can choose from, including the ones that are here at the city, which we so greatly appreciate. In our employability skills co-op, it's very similar to youth apprenticeship. However, it's not a state-run program, it's our in-house program for students who are working on employability skills. We have currently 26 students in that program. That program fluctuates because it depends on student need and the number of credits they're in need of, and their schedules, because we give them release time to also do that. And some students choose not to work during their high school term, and that's fine too. We're trying to meet all of their needs. So the students that sometimes are choosing not to work are the students taking dual credits. And we offer quite a few. So currently at the high school, 10 teachers offer different dual credit classes. So dual credit meaning they get credit at the high school level and at the college level. So of those 10 teachers, students have the opportunity to take up to 81 credits that they could potentially earn. And that's 24 classes. 14 of those courses are currently with Lakeshore College, as they're now termed, and 10 courses are with UW Green Bay and UW Oshkosh. In addition to that, we have students in our Rising Phoenix program. That's another program that I oversee. Rising Phoenix started in 2021 school year. Since that school year, 29 of the 31 students who have been in the program have completed. So what is this program? This program is a program where students are admitted to UWGB their sophomore year, and their junior and senior year, they take college courses, both on the campus, online, and at the college, depending on their needs. They earn up to 60 credits. Some have earned 70 plus credits. And they earn their associate's degree from UW Green Bay in addition to their high school diploma when they graduate. So this past weekend, we had 5, our smallest class was 5, and they graduated from GE with their associate's degree. The current class that will be seniors, there are 13, and the incoming class, there are 10. So some impressive numbers of those students. So our students at Two Rivers High School earned over 1,400 college credits this year so far. Of those credits, I believe 553 were our Rising Phoenix students. So our students are going above and beyond, earning college credit at the same time as high school credit, and are to be commended. Surprisingly, a number of our Rising Phoenix students are also youth apprentices. So they are really going gangbusters. And that's all I have, unless there are questions for me.
Okay, so I know the Rising Phoenix program is amazing. My daughter went through that. She will be graduating this December.
Mm-hmm.
She was her bachelor's degree, but she graduated in high school as a senior when she was a senior. So yeah, it's cool how you can graduate from college before you have your high school.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, but no, it's amazing.
They work really hard, And I should say that the school district has made a commitment to this program by funding up to 10 students per year that meet either first generation status or financial need. So we are not only giving students that opportunity, we're helping fund those students at the same time. So I have that statistic to share with you. So far of that 31, 22 students have been paid for fully by the school district.
That's a great program. It really saves a lot of money for the students too.
Absolutely, because not only is the program saving the student money, it also saves us, the school district, because it's at a reduced cost. So right now, the Rising Phoenix credits that they take through, like online through GB, are about $115 a credit.
And I would imagine it gives them a competitive start for the final job that they're seeking.
It does, because they can go into college, as you mentioned with your daughter, and they start almost their junior year because they've already got 2 years.
Great program. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Kudos to the district and kudos to the students. Some real accomplishments you said there. And as one employer, and our department heads can speak to it better than I can, but there are some great career opportunities in public service, whether it's in the electric utility or wastewater and water plants, a lot of applied STEM skills there. Public safety, both police, fire, and EMS. So to the extent we can make our young people in the community aware of those opportunities. We have people that also are attracted by what a great community Two Rivers is, but it's always in terms of retention, a plus if someone is from here and has their family and social roots.
And that's what we've been trying to emphasize with our youth apprenticeship students, is that if they become employed, they could potentially go into a registered apprenticeship program, and employers now help with that schooling. So many opportunities.
Not to mention some great young people in this community.
Sometimes
we don't hear that enough. Some really great young people.
We have some fabulous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do the students that work with Lakeshore College get a degree as well, or is it just the rest?
Right now, it's just the Rising Phoenix, although we do offer courses through Lakeshore College.
So they get the credits.
So they do get the credits, and the nice thing with Lakeshore College is presently we don't have to pay a fee to them. So students who take the Lakeshore program, the dual credit classes, there's no fee, which is nice for them, and it transfers to other schools. And thank you, department heads, for taking on the students that you've taken on this year. And I should mention that Parks and Rec has they received a grant for a forestry apprentice that we're trying to fill. Cool stuff.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here. By way of update, this one got added to the program, given events over the weekend. We do want to acknowledge the response by our fire department and 17 other area agencies that assisted Saturday. You heard a lot of sirens in town. You might have smelled a little smoke. Hopefully you stayed out of the area and didn't get in the way. But they all played a role in bringing into control the wind-blown wildfire in brush and swamp grass areas along the West Twin River. And I'd like Chief Murat to come out and speak to that briefly. You may have already seen these posts from the fire department Facebook. It's pretty dramatic there at times.
As many of you have probably seen on social media and heard throughout your travels in town, yeah, we did have a brush fire, a grass fire on Saturday. This started around 3:10 or 3:15 in the afternoon. The way it was dispatched out is somebody called the station privately, and they said that they felt that somebody was burning some garbage or there was some burning brush or whatnot. And it's fairly normal to call for us. They didn't say that they saw anything. They didn't say anything else unusual. but it had staff from the station respond out with a truck and an engine. And when they got out there, they could see light smoke and they could see some ash. It wasn't until they went on to 37th Street, and the gentleman that lives off of 37th Street has a private driveway, and he let us go down there. They were able to go on that driveway, and then they determined there was an area about 2 football fields that was burning. And this is swamp grass or grass that's on top of probably a foot of water. As you may know, it had rained 2 days before, so it was very wet. So what was burning is the grass on top. But it's very impressive to see something like that. Upon figuring that out, we are, as you know, we're primarily urban firefighters, but we do have extensive training in wildland firefighting. But with something like this, we have no equipment in which to go out into the marsh. So even our ranger cannot go out in there. And I'm not going to send my operators out in there to get stuck, because it's basically like quicksand. So we have a mutual aid agreement with multiple agencies, and you see a lot of equipment come in, and we're very grateful for the work and these other agencies that came in and the partnership we have with them. So what they were bringing is they were bringing some manpower that had wetland firefighter or forestry gear, turnout gear, and they were bringing all the equipment, because we have a limited amount of equipment, and we only have 5 guys that are working on shift to do this, so we can't do it without them. And they were also bringing their UTVs out there, which have they have tank tracks on them, so they're able to go in with water and catch all these hot spots. So this started around, the area where it was noticed was around 37th Street. It burned all the way to 31st. The way we fight fire is we fight it from the unburned side. So we came in that way with the volunteers, and you may have saw a ton of vehicles come in. You have to remember, they bring their vehicle and they don't have full-time staff at their station. So a lot of the help that we had coming were coming in their private vehicles. The one thing I would ask if there's any big events like this in the future, that people just don't go joyriding and drive down there to see what's going on, because it really hampers firefighting operations when we have that whole area clogged with vehicles. We'll get on social media and we'll get it out there what it is, and we'll let you know if there's any danger in the area. While we were taking care of this, I'd like to thank the TRPD for evacuating people in the area. I'd like to thank the Manitowoc Police Department for bringing our drone to do an overhead view to make sure it was all out. And I have a couple other agencies I would like to thank. Besides the police department, City of Manitowoc Fire Department did staff our station for us, because we had all of our personnel down there. The town of Two Rivers, which we were incredibly close with, they worked right alongside our command as dual unified command to take care of this. Michigan Ambulance and Fire Department came and helped us. 2 creeks, Francis Creek, Kellnersville, Tish Mills, Carlton, Maribel, Rockwood, Whitelaw, Silver Creek, Branch, Valders, and Kewaunee. So we need all that help. I think everyone would agree that 30 acres of forest, or even looking at the swamp grass burning on fire, it's something that we really need to contain, because we don't want any of that getting into the residential area. One correction I would like to make on here is the shift captain that wrote this press release. It says does not appear to be suspicious at this time. He miswrote that. It's still under investigation and undetermined until we do some further work on this. So does anybody have any questions at all? I'm sure you received phone calls and were wondering yourself.
I have one. When Manitowoc comes to back us up, do they actually go right to our station house, or do they get dispatched from Manitowoc?
City of Manitowoc comes with a fire engine and an ambulance and staffs our station.
Okay,
so the residents here are never without fire protection or ambulance protection. We work hand in hand with them. They're paramedics. We have the same level, same training. We're very grateful for having them. We do the same as well. When there's a fire in Manitowoc, we go to their fire. So it's a great collaboration between both cities. Thank you.
Thanks, you. Appreciate the on-the-spot report from Saturday. Just in the personnel realm, some of this council president pretty well covered. City manager recruitment, 8 semifinalists. Wednesday night, the Selection Committee, which all council members are invited to that meeting, will meet. It will convene an open session. Most all of the discussion, most of the meeting will be enclosed appropriately. The goal is for the committee to identify the group of finalist candidates out of those 8 semifinalists who will be invited to Two Rivers May 29th and 30th. When they're here on that Thursday and Friday, the activities will include community tours, meetings with the department heads. That's on Thursday. Thursday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. in the community house gym is a meet and greet for the finalist candidates with the public. All members of the public are invited. There will be tables grouped around the gym. Council members will be encouraged to disperse to those different areas, and the candidates will rotate after some preliminary introductions among those small groups for some discussion. There will be the opportunity for members of the public who are there to share some feedback on their impressions of candidates, and there'll be a pretty basic form will be collected and results collated by the search consultants from Public Administration Associates. On Friday morning, actually Friday morning is the meetings with the department heads as a group. And last we had heard from Kevin Bruner from Public Administration Associates, City Council from at least noon on, subject to revision, but at least noon on Friday, will be engaged with the interviews and the other activities that the finalists will be doing in the assessment center. So the intent is that a top candidate be identified out of that process on Thursday and Friday, and then the consultants will work with the council president and city council on negotiating the contract and hopefully getting somebody on board. The goal again is by mid-July. My official last day is targeted to be August 8th, and that would only change if needed to accommodate a candidate schedule. So it's moving along. It's getting real. City planner, community development, that may very well end up being filled by a new city manager. We've come up pretty light on the applications there. Police administrative professional and evidence custodian. Today was the deadline for applications on that position, so we'll be hearing more about that within a couple of weeks. The interviews were completed last week for the finance accounting clerk position. I believe a top candidate has been identified. There's some communication going on there. We still have quite a few seasonal positions to be filled. Maybe I'll ask Mike Mathis to update when he comes up for some other items. Tourism director to come forward, and for starters, talking about an event that many of you had a chance to attend, and that was an outstanding Wisconsin Tourism Week celebration at Sepia Chapel just last week. Over to you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for all the council people that could attend there. It was our first annual National Travel and Tourism event. I think it went off mostly without a hitch, really well attended, almost 100 people there. We had a handful of different businesses from around the community that were able to take part in our Taste of Two Rivers event, which was a big success. And I think overall, I have to admit that the alpacas and Kevin from London Dairy Alpaca Ranch kind of stole the show with being our greeters for everybody who was in attendance there. So all in all, a fun evening. Councilperson Bittner asked me to give a little bit of an update on where we're at statistically for 2025 at this point as it relates to tourism to go along with this. So happy to report at this point, at the end of Q1, our room tax revenue is up 6% over 2024. 2024 was our best year to date. And I do want to note that an event like Travel and Tourism Celebration is paid exclusively through room tax revenue and the marketing dollars that we have through that. So no property tax or other tax or additional fundraising was put forward to take that event on. And then in my director's report, also Mark Bittner wanted me to touch on the value of what it means to our community to have a motor coach or a tour group come to the community. So I had just mentioned London Dairy Alpaca Ranch. Recently, they had a group of 43 people that came to our community. They spent the morning at Wood Type Printing Museum. They had lunch here. They went out and learned more about alpacas, and they stayed overnight. And that was a group of 43. In taking all of their cost into what the fee was at Hamilton and the gift shops, both at Hamilton and at Alpaca Dairy Farm, or at Dairy Ranch, Alpaca London Dairy Ranch, sorry. So all in, one trip by that group brought about $10,000 to $12,000 to our community in new revenue. And that's for dining, it's for gift shops, it's for fees to those two establishments. So, you know, as we reach out and I'm out marketing our community, trying to attract more motor coach groups here, it really does make a significant impact. It doesn't seem like 40 people coming to the community would raise that kind of revenue, but it does. And it's being repeated, and we're picking up a lot of speed in that area when it comes to how we're marketing ourselves to that particular industry. So, and then there's another slide. Yeah. So we did ask everybody who participated in the travel and tourism event to pick a word that best describes something about Two Rivers or how they feel about Two Rivers. So it's a word cloud exercise. And for those who don't know, the bigger the word is, the more it was mentioned when people submitted their one word. So no surprise, and it's kind of, to be honestly, heartwarming that home is the first one, but beach comes up there, cool comes up there. So just a fun exercise, and we'll take this information and use it as some of our marketing materials. In fact, we might even just take this word cloud itself and use it as part of what we do with branding and messaging to the broader community as we move forward. Thank you.
Good things happen. Thank you, Jeff. In terms of events, the Farmers and Crafters Market resumed this past Saturday in Central Park East out here. So patronize those vendors. I don't know if they have a lot of crops yet, but a lot of craft items, honey and other products. Would like to invite Mike Mathis up. I probably jumped into his area on the first slide, but particularly summer concerts are back in the various venues, the various nights of the week. That free entertainment is available to residents of the community and those visitors that are looking at it.
Nice concerts. Thanks, Frank.
And I would mention between the community-sponsored fireworks and the concerts, which we still need some sponsorship for. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen about $30,000.
Yeah, $36,000 so far this year raised.
That's amazing.
We're still slightly short of where we'd like to be, but we rolled over some funds from last year, and then we of course hope to have a good year at the concession stand that helps to make all these things happen. We are going to start pushing out marketing and opportunities for people just to donate as individuals as well. So at all the concerts, there'll be basically a QR code tip jar that's people can scan those, make a donation individually to support those concerts and at the fireworks as well. The costs on those they're not cheap to pull off fireworks or some really good bands. People are very excited about the bands because we do attract some of the really the better ones in the region.
A lot of Thursday nights, a lot of Friday nights, and then help me out. At the beach, it's typically 6.
Yeah.
Sundays.
We have over 30 this year. That's what I keep saying. It's over 30.
You can do a staycation right into Rivers if you're a resident. Enjoy that. Not Parks and Rec related, but stay up there. We would remind people that even though this isn't the big reval year, you still do have the option of coming in if you have questions or concerns about the assessment on your home. Some people got new assessments this year, mostly if they had pulled a permit for some sort of home improvement project. But even if you didn't come in last year, when the new numbers from the reval came in, you still have the right to come in and meet with representatives of our contract assessment for questions or concerns about your assessment. And likewise, we'll post the date a little later. Board review will follow that. And there's the ability, you should come in and talk at open book first, but ultimately there is recourse to come before board review. I'll steal Matt's air here, but basically the Memorial Drive project, DOT doesn't want us to say real loud that the detour is supposed to end on May 23rd. I don't know how you're quiet about that. I don't know how I'm quiet about that. I think people will notice when the signs on 310 come down and they say, why the heck am I driving on 310? But anyway, if you ventured out there over the weekend, which I did, my wife thought it was a great drive, they have got that initial half an inch or so of asphalt leveling course down on about one lane, one of the northbound lanes from Manitowoc to TR. But that's going to be the focus of Northeast Asphalt this week. They hope to have the drive, I'm not sure if they will, but covered to the extent they can with that one coat of leveling course by Friday afternoon, when the plan is still for the detour signage to come down. They will resume paving work after Memorial Day weekend, applying that top 2-inch lift of asphalt. And like we've been saying right along, the DOT's plan is that that will be done with the highway under traffic. You'll just see periodic lane closures and flagging operations. So I didn't tell you that too publicly, but that still is the plan. And actually, I've been critical at different times, notably about communication on this project, but to have as much work done as has been done prior to Memorial Day weekend and get that opened back up for traffic is a big deal. So we look forward and thank everybody for their patience. You got to do infrastructure sometime. Work continues mangling the streets in the north central part of town for lead water service lateral replacement. And what you've got here is a slide that just gives an update from what you heard at the last council meeting. Thank you, Chief Minor, by the way, for covering that one. You see progress there, another 23 public side LSLs replaced, another 18 sanitary laterals, another 11 private side water services, and private side sanitary laterals up from 18 to 21. Restoration, please, is picking up now in the areas of the north central part of town where there's some catch up to do now that the weather's cooperating. And back over to Rico.
Yeah, we have a new survey going out. We like to do lots of surveys in Parks and Rec, trying to get good information and feedback from the community. So this one is focused on specifically on what people want to see in programs and events for our Parks and Rec department. How are we serving the community? What are the offerings we have? What times? What are new things that you'd like to see? Or what are things that are really core to your family and you really enjoy? So please encourage anybody you know to take the survey. We're going to be plugging this out wherever we can. I do mention the survey that we did a Parks and Open Space plan not too long ago. So while of course we always appreciate that feedback about parks, this one is very much targeted on our services and within programs and events. Cool pictures here of the new climbing wall and bamboo jungle going in at Neshota Park, funded by a $100,000 grant from the West Foundation and a $20,000 grant from the Room Tax Commission. I anticipate the border wall for the mulch being installed tomorrow. If it don't get totally washed out in early morning tomorrow with some rain. But we are very, very close to being able to open this to the public. So if you drive by it, I was actually very surprised at how tall it is as well. So some young people will get some thrills out of climbing this rock wall, but there is a lot of mulch under it to pad anybody's fall. I particularly liked the picture of the Department of Public Works crew walking it down the street from Walsh Field to move it into place. I thought that was kind of cool. They had to close down the whole street to fit it in, to get into the park.
First structure like this in Wisconsin.
I've double checked with the playground company, and when they originally sold it to me, they said this isn't in the state of Wisconsin, and I confirmed yet again that this is not in the state of Wisconsin.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you again to the West Foundation and the Room Tax Commission.
Actually going back one other piece to the high school students, I would say we probably have at least 30 to 40 high school students working for us at the Parks and Rec department outside of apprenticeships. And I don't know the exact number off my head, but they're working in the concession stands, the community house, the grounds crew, umpires, scorekeepers, you name it. There's a lot of young people working for us in the Parks and Rec department.
High school, from high school to what are our primary needs right now?
We're actually really solid right now. I think we're staffed up as good as we need to be for the summer. So we're in good shape. Yeah. A couple pictures of the tree planting efforts that have been going on around town, mostly on the south side as well. So every year we have our environmental fund, our environmental fee helps fund our typical annual urban forestry fund that helps us plant trees, remove dead trees, do the different types of forestry tasks that we need. So we've been talking a lot about removing dead ash trees and other dead and dangerous trees out of terraces across the city that we are responsible for. So there's been a push to get a good chunk of those planted with new trees, or at least very close to the same location as they were before. And those have been happening kind of scattered throughout the city. And then through grant funding, Lake Michigan Bird Observatory received a grant, Lake Fund for Lake Michigan, that funded 60 trees, just around $10,000 in cost for those 60 trees to be planted on the south side. And then the urban forestry grant we have from Wisconsin DNR will cover all the staff time for making all that happen. We have 38 of them in the ground, so that leaves 22 of them to go. We keep getting locates done for Digger's hotline in the utilities and getting told no, that there's gas lines or electrical lines in the way. So we keep dodging some of that stuff, but we'll get them planted here, but hopefully by the end of the week.
You planted to the cemeteries, or maybe they were from last year?
Those are, if you saw trees just sitting there at the cemetery?
No, planted at the old cemetery, maybe they were last year's.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
There's plenty of room for more. Yeah.
And then you've probably seen it on social media, lots of openings, all the opening activities for spring, the splash pad, the fountains, the beach fence came down, you name it, the parks are ready to go. We staff up fully here once high school, the end of the school year ends, that we bring on more seasonal staff to have park hosts is what we call them, working on Fridays and into the weekend and the evenings to open up the restrooms more consistently. We do have a couple individuals that have stepped up and they're doing it, getting at least the 3 main parks of Central Park, Nashotah, and Washington Park open on a regular basis for the weekends. But you'll see everything opened up very, very soon in regards to restrooms. But yeah.
Is there a Rotary Pavilion? It's 10 years old, can you believe it, this year. And sporting new shade.
Yes, we lost the shade last year in a thunderstorm. I'm fully confident the engineering is sound on the new one, but of course I was a little bit nervous with the storms that we just had about putting a brand new canopy up, but it's in good shape. It held tight.
I got forecast when you have no cell phones. Not that anyone ever mentions that.
Oh, okay. So another quick update here. Another kind of chain of organization and events that happened with this one. So the Inflation Reduction Act passed at the federal level, distributed grants to organizations. One of those organizations being a national organization called Faith in Place. Faith in Place then granted out funds from what they received. And Grace Congregational Church and Parks and Rec worked together to submit an application to receive that funding. That funding is planned to plant 20 trees at Washington Park, because if you go to Washington Park, you still see some stumps where we've had to remove dead trees at Washington Park. And it was going to fund an additional forestry youth apprentice. Of course, with all the changes at the federal level, we haven't really known what's going to happen. We thought potentially there just wouldn't be any funding available for this anymore. But we were notified by the grantor that they are going to advance 25% of the grant to Grace Congregational Church, who is the actual applicant and will hold the money. We talked about a strategy for this the other day. While we're super busy right now, it's good logistics just to wait till fall to do a planting event and see how consistent the money is, and if everything sticks and nothing goes weird with the federal government holding the money. So hopefully they're getting the money any day, and we'll be starting this fall with the planting event.
There's some potential they could see all of the funding.
There is potential that they could see all of it, but they got an advance of $25,000. So that was a good sign that things are maybe loosening up, and the money's gonna come out to the grantees. These are new pictures of the new pathway going in across the old baseball field at Neshota Park by the new playground. So this was all part of our master planning process that we planned out some new layout for paths to help people with limited mobility or just people with strollers or wagons or people going to the beach from neighborhoods, from outlying parking to get to the beach more efficiently and more safely so they're not on the streets. And this was funded by the big Wisconsin DNR stewardship grant that we've been talking about. So another huge kudos to the Department of Public Works. They're taking on the project with their staff, and the grant, of course, funds them. So it's good for all of us and helping the budget out and working, taking care of our staff.
The section goes from new speed hump on Piers at the middle of the park, near the playground, to the walkway that comes up by the concession stand. But there's another.
There'll be another branch that heads all the way over to Garfield next.
Fantastic. There's some beautiful curves, and it's kind of hard to tell from the shots.
We also have 2 spots marked out for 2 20 by 20 picnic shelters that are part of the project as well. And those delivery on those has been slow. We're going to get those in mid-June, but the Department of Public Works crew will be getting the pads laid fairly.
Oh, yes.
Another long paragraph on this one, I apologize. This one I want to give it just a heads up in case something weird happens this summer. So our new Swim Smart beach signs that were funded by room tax last year, they are turned on, power's on, they're functional. The Swim Smart, the company, has access to them. You're not seeing lights on them yet because National Weather Service has not started providing their weather reports for swimming in the beaches and all those different things that they report out on. But SwimSmart is hedging hard on our expectations for the National Weather Service and their ability to continue to provide free data and free forecasts. So there could very well be a point that this summer that these don't have data to show anything. We'll see what happens with that. SwimSmart is working on private sources of data so that they can pay for data from somewhere, even though they don't know where that is, that would supply these signs with the forecast that they need. So we'll see how that goes. And they've also, this year, thankfully, they didn't increase the price on us, but they did increase the price for the next year because they're pretty certain that things are going to drastically change in the forecast. The other piece to it, though, that there might be a little silver lining, we don't know yet if it'll work out, is that they did put a cool piece of technology in on the sign that's directly on Neshota Beach, that there's a camera that faces out to the lake and a small weather station there. And so SwimSmart is working on some AI technology that would be able to see the waves, see wave height, and see what the winds are doing right off our beach, and then possibly forecast directly off that to the SwimSmart signs. But again, there's a lot of ifs to be figured out on that one. So I just wanted to make sure everybody ahead of time, when people see that the lights are, if they're not working this summer, that we all know kind of what we're dealing with.
The National Weather Service's beach advisories have been around for a few years. We thought certainly we were building this on the shoulders of something reliable and that would see funding. You remember this was a way of improving the information we provide to the public after a tragic drowning at our beach. So we would hope, I'm not being political here, but somewhere there's a public policy basis for keeping families safe when they go to the beach and the Great Lakes. In the scheme of things, it just seems able to happen.
The other small component to this, FYI, is that the county health departments and SwimSmart, the company, we've been working together with them. And so they are now going to integrate the county health department's beach alerts for contamination into that sign. So in the past, it has said waves and or contamination. That wasn't totally true because the contamination data wasn't going into that sign. This year it will. So if the health department has a closure or something like that, it'll be reflected in the sign as well.
We might go down there, assuming we have no information. The lake could be flat as a board and you can see a red light.
You can see a red light if there's E. coli or something bad in the water. And again, we're not going to be the entity that necessarily stops you from going out there. We're going to strongly advise you with a nice red light that you shouldn't be in the water. But people do need to be smart and take responsibility for themselves whenever they're looking at the waves or the contamination level. So Mark, did you have a question?
Yeah, Mike, I wondered, obviously it recognizes the waves. I don't know, does it recognize a rip current too? That,
I don't know. I'm not an expert in AI technology with cameras and observing waves. He said they're working on it. I honestly jokingly said to him, you know what you should do? You should just have an AI software that just tells you what's going on. He said, well, that's what we're working on. So that's how we got on the conversation. Anything else? No. Yeah. Lots of events. Okay, so all kinds of things going on. We have, I mentioned it a little bit. We are soliciting donations just from individuals, from any other businesses who want to contribute and get in on the good things that are going on, concerts and 4th of July. So you will see QR codes plastered all over the place and links to go out and donate and support those things going on. The big sponsors for most of these are established. They like to get in really at the end of the year. So between Spring Street Farm, Community First Credit Union, Explore Two Rivers, Fox Communities Credit Union, and so many more. There's been a lot of really generous donations. People stepping up their donations too in light of increasing expenses. But we would love just a little bit of community giving to help us reach the finish line and cover all the expenses for the concerts. Again, we're using money that we had rolled over from last year, so I don't see us like going off a ledge and being in the red or something like that. But it sure sets us up for success in the next year that we can kind of continue this growth trajectory that we've had with these concerts and the success we've been having.
Rec department has implemented some new software from a program called See My Legacy, which is noted up there. It's got a lot of flexibility for fundraising. Even things like, I'll just mention briefly, when in the Czech Republic 2 weeks ago, we saw Václav Fiala and his family, the artist that many of you met, who was the creator of the friendship table here and the one in Domischlitz. So we still haven't done signage out here, and we don't want a gigantic sign telling the whole story, but something as simple as saying friendship table by artist Václav Fiala and a QR code. And that could take you right to his Facebook page, his studio, lots of other very cool things. So thank you, Rec Department, for implementing that. And yeah, the senior center's doing their annual rummage sale May 22nd and 23rd. So later on this week, what is that, Thursday, Friday this week. So stop over there, plenty of things available. We would note that the Washington House is planning their reopening this coming Saturday, May 24th. They're open from 12 to 6 p.m. This is the 175th anniversary for that historic building, maintained by the Two Rivers Historical Society, and of course, home of the ice cream parlor that commemorates our history as birthplace of the ice cream sundae. So if you get a chance, stop over this weekend from noon to 6 p.m. At Washington. Memorial Day ceremonies, of course, Memorial Day coming up a week from today. The reading of the honor roll of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country and our community, and the related bell ceremony that will take place out here in Central Park at 8:30 a.m. I encourage council members to show up a bit early for the parade and observe, witness that very moving ceremony. The wreath laying wraps that up at 8:55 p.m. The parade steps off promptly at 9 a.m. Bound for the old cemetery, Pioneer Rest and Calvary Cemetery, where the program is held there at the bandstand. It does then, after that ceremony, there is a program, parade doesn't proceed, there's another program at 10 a.m. at Forest View Holy Cross. For those of us that always forget the names of the cemetery, that'd be the new cemetery. And then there is a memorial service at noon over at Vietnam Veterans Park, organized by Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 731. We thank our local American Legion and VFW folks for making sure that these events go smoothly each year. I believe, again, General Tim Sedalis, U.S. Air Force retired, is the speaker at those ceremonies. So it means a lot to veterans and their families. By all means, if you can turn out for Memorial Day here at Two Rivers. I've said this before, but just a reminder, we'll be getting us out via the media this week and to to all of our board and committee members and through social media to the general public that chance to meet with the finalist candidates for the city manager position Thursday, May 29, next week, Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Community House Gym. And again, there will be the opportunity for some feedback to the search consultants who are advising the council in this process. So it should be a cool opportunity for the candidates to meet. Mike, you want to address, I'm sorry to get you up again, but the adaptive paddling workshop that is upcoming is sponsored in large part by a Wisconsin Coastal Management Grant that was awarded to the city. That's also what funded the kayak fleet, Parks and Rec.
You guys heard about this from me last time. Nothing really new on it, but I am really, really excited about it. So yeah, we'll have 7 people in town to take this course, and hopefully it'll be very well trained to take individuals with some limited mobility out on the water.
Will there be other workshops in the future?
This is a very intensive, so I would say something this scale unlikely, but we do have our series of public kayaking programs that we're going to continue to do as long as we can continue to do.
We have people on staff that are certified or whatever the credentials are for it.
They're well trained. We haven't quite gone to the level of certification yet for our staff, but myself, Kenny Shilcox, and Megan O'Connor from the Senior Center. I've taken this course already, and Megan and Kenny are going to be taking it this time here.
Fantastic. Wisconsin Carp Championship coincides with the city manager candidates being in town. So there'll be people that are used to taking a lot of carp on the rivers at various locations. And we welcome them back. That's really there's an international circuit of carp fishing tournaments. And this one time, at least, we'll say that the carp count is not pejorative. We're home to a lot of rainbow carp, which are hard to come by. And it is a catch and release tournament, which drives a lot of sport fishermen right up the wall, the idea of catching and releasing carp. But if you want to see those big scaly behemoths up close and personal, that's the fish, not the fisherman. By all means, it's a great opportunity to wander along the river corridors and visit with them. There is a $350 entry fee per angler. They generally have a lodging impact here in town as well. So we look forward to welcoming the 16th annual Carp Championship. The Holy Family Freighter Medical College of Wisconsin Memorial Marathon will be taking place, oh good Lord, what's the date on that? June 1, Sunday. I'm sorry, is it? Yeah, Sunday, June 1. Departing the UW Green Bay Manitowoc campus, proceeding north on Mariners Trail, which will be open, across our bridge, which will be open, and then through town up to the state forest and back to the full marathon. So always the opportunity to host lots of folks, and a lot of folks from out of area, because again, this is a Boston Marathon qualifier. If the weather's anything like recent days, it'll be cool when the runners like that. There is an e-waste recycling event. Brian, you want to speak to that briefly? As if there weren't a lot of octagon clubs between 3 blocks downtown, and did a wonderful job. More.
Yeah, so on June 10th, down at 1415 Lake Street, the electric department, we will set up traffic cones, guide bring their TVs, anything basically that's electric. We don't take like refrigerators, freezers, the large appliances with like Freon and stuff like that. But light bulbs, batteries, everything does have a cost, except for like the VCRs. There's gonna be plenty of as far as like information that we're going to put on Facebook and get out to the public, so that the fee structure and everything will be known. So
another opportunity to safely and properly dispose of all that e-garbage that you might be inhabiting your basement, wherever you put that stuff. And we just remind you, ongoing throughout the spring and summer season, your authoritative, up-to-date, complete source for information on great things happening in Two Rivers for visitors, and yes, for those lucky enough to live here year-round, is explore2rivers.com. Beautiful shot there. Better. No, it's not. It's Point Beach. Yes, it's it's the lodge. It's ours. We'll claim it. And again, thanks to Joe for this closing photo of the shoreline, probably up at the state forest as well. That is my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Under A, we have presentation of minutes. We have the City Council reorganizational meeting from April 15th, 2025. The City Council regular meeting from April 21st, 2025, and the City Council work session from April 28th, 2025. The recommended action will be a motion to waive reading and adopt the minutes. Under B, we have minutes of meeting. We have the Committee on Aging from April 7th, Library Board from April 8th, Public Utilities Committee from May 5th, Public Works Committee from May 7th, City Manager Recruitment and Selection Committee from May 8th, and the Plan Commission from May 12th. Recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. Under C, we have board and committee recommendations requiring council action. Under number 1, we have Plan Commission for May 12, 2025. Set a public hearing on an application to amend an existing conditional use permit for self-storage facilities located at 2005 Hawthorne Avenue in the Business District B2, submitted by TR Storage LLC, applicant and owner. Recommended action is a motion to set the public hearing for Monday, June 2nd, 2025 at 6 o'clock p.m. Under D, we have Department Record for May 2025. We have City Clerk, Electric, Fire, Inspections, Library, Public Works, Safety, Water, and Tourism. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. Under E, we have financial reports for December, January, and February. They are debt service, general fund, Leicester Library, utilities report. Recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. Under F, we have applications and petitions. We have 3 of those. Under 1 will be a 10th Class D beer license for Trivers Youth Sports Beer Bash, June 27th and 28th, 2025, 500 Zlatnik Drive, parking lot 2 and 3 from 8 o'clock p.m. to midnight. Number 2, waiver of noise ordinance for amplified noise for Beach Bash on June 27th and 28th until 11:35 p.m., shutting down at midnight. And under 3, waiver of exotic animal ordinance for Beach Bash on June 28th, 2025 to allow an insured exotic animal show. Recommended action will be a motion to approve the application and waivers and authorize issuance of the license. And finally, under G, we have summary of verified bills for the month of April 2025 for $4,161,624.80. Recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. The recommended action for the consent agenda will be a motion to approve the consent agenda with the various actions recommended. We have a motion for that. Thank you, Shannon. Second by Mark. Thank you. Any council discussion? See none, this will be a voice vote. So all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all for that. On to 11, City Council formal items. Under A, we have award of bid for 2025 lateral replacement program, scattered location on the city's east side. This was tabled from the May 5th, 2025 council meeting.
You have an additional report in your packets from our city engineer, Mr. Heckenleibel, who's happy to address any questions you have tonight on this matter. Again, there were 4 bids received for this next contract for scattered lead water service lateral replacement and related work. I understand there were some concerns about past performance by the low contractor bidder. Matt reports on that in his report back to City Council. I think my quick summary would be we've not identified anything based on the company's past performance for the city that was sufficient to say up front in the bid process that they were debarred or not allowed. We are aware of the current prohibition by Sheboygan Water for on use of the company, and that's further addressed in his report. The staff recommends still that the contract be awarded to the low qualified bidder, essential. You will note the second low bidder is about $300,000 higher. Timing wise, it could be very difficult, I think, to rebid it at this point. And frankly, not sure there's sufficient reason presented as to not move forward. With that, Madam, if you have any additional comments or?
That pretty much sums up my summary report. I did talk to multiple municipalities and one developer. With pretty much any contractor, you're going to have minor issues with coordination, communication, glitches in some, I'll call it workmanship, but everything was a common theme. Once they were identified as far as an issue, ultimately the issues were resolved and they moved on and completed the projects successfully. So, so Milwaukee had some minor issues, but again, completed, would be happy to have them back. Village of Shorewood, similarly, even with the city of Sheboygan water utility, they are looking at re-reviewing the status of the 2-year prohibition and are contemplating on just limiting that to 1 year and allowing them to bid on projects in 2026. So again, my recommendation is ultimately to award the contract to Essential Sewer and Water, as my previous memo and Town and Country's memo had stated as well.
Yeah, you did a lot of extensive research, and I appreciate that. And in reading through this, the thing that's most telling to me is it was not a significant issue related to the actual workmanship.
Correct.
I think that's key. And all the other problems have been on the other receiving end too, of the department. But overall, I don't see any doubt about the quality of their workmanship.
Yeah.
Do you have staff or consultants that do any quality control inspections on the work that's, as it's being done?
We have staff that will do some inspection. We are not staffed well enough to have 100% inspection. And so between our engineering technician, our assistant city engineer, and some water utility staff here and there, that provides our limited. Correct.
Any other questions? If not, then we're looking for a motion to award the bid. Thank you. Second by Mark. Thank you. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Val?
Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulis.
Aye.
Scott Steckmesser.
Aye.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you all for that. On to B. Oh, he's still up there. Proclamation naming the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. The recommended action is a motion to read and adopt the proclamation. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to name, or to read and adopt the, I'm not gonna make motions.
You're almost there.
Sorry, the proclamation, I'm not.
Thank you. Second by Shannon. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote again. Val?
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulis.
Aye.
Scott Steckmesser.
Aye.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby.
Aye.
Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Motion passed. All yours, sir.
Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of City of Two Rivers. And Whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Two Rivers to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest in understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association, be it now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Two Rivers do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through May 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and the government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and the employees to recognize the substantial contributions they make in protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. Dated this 19th day of May 2025.
On to C, proclamation naming the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Recommended action, motion to read and adopt the proclamation.
Should you so move, the fire chief is coming forward and we'll be happy to read the proclamation.
I'll make a motion to read the proclamation.
Thank you, Doug. Second by? I'll go first. Any council discussion? See none, we'll do a roll call vote. Val?
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shamilinis. Aye. Scott Steckmesser.
Aye.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby. Aye. Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Doug Grant.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. All yours, chief.
So we're sharing EMS week with Matt and his co-workers at Public Works. So I think it's great. So whereas emergency medical services are a vital part of public service to all residents in our community. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those experiencing sudden illness and injury. And whereas the emergency medical system consists of emergency physicians, nurses, skilled dispatchers, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, first responders, educators, youth apprentices, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance life-saving skills. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishment of emergency services provider by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, the City Council of Two Rivers, Wisconsin, in recognition of this event, I proclaim the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. With this year's theme, EMS, We Care for Everyone, we encourage the community to observe this week and throughout the year with participation in appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. This week, we will have activities at the City of Two Rivers Fire Department. You can look on our social media page. So the 20th, 9 until 10, the 21st, 12:30 till 1:30, Thursday, 9 until 10, And the 23rd, 12:30 until 1:30. We'll be offering ambulance tours, ambulance education, and welcome the public to come to the Two Rivers Fire Station at 2122 Monroe Street. Please enter at 22nd Street to learn about emergency medical services in Two Rivers and ask all the questions you would like to ask. If you need your blood pressure checked, we can check that as well. So I encourage the public to stop by and see the equipment they paid for and the people who serve them. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. To D, city managers for proposed appointments and reappointments to city boards, commissions, and committees.
Yes, you have a list in your packet. Most of these are reappointments of individuals that are eligible to serve for another term and have indicated their willingness to do so. Those identified as new appointments include Tom Lawler to the Advisory Recreation Board. He will be filling the seat that was formerly held by Dorothy Tinkerdello. Has completed her term of service. I am showing, Pam Wargen under the Business Improvement District Board as a new appointee. We have 2 members on that board, which annually reviews and recommends to the council the amount of Business Improvement District special assessment or special levy that goes in support of the Main Street program. That body, 7, I believe, is exclusively made up of stakeholders in the bid district, either business and or property owners. So Pam Wargen will be coming on to that board. We have 1 more position. I've talked to a couple of candidates, just wasn't ready to have those on tonight's agenda. Dan Wetstein would be a new appointee to the Community Development Authority, which he's indicated an interest in serving on. He is a veteran of the BIEC, which typically meets jointly with the CDA. He has hit his term limit on the on the BIEC, and on the CDA, he is filling the seat formerly held by Betty Bittner. Betty reached her limit of 3 full terms on the CDA, although she has 1 more year on BIEC. So those would qualify as 3 new appointments. The others are all reappointments. I listed the Room Tax Commission because by ordinance, they're city manager appointments. I understand the city council by consensus has previously agreed that Mr. Bittner and Mr. Leclerc are interested in continuing to serve on that body. And the council president has indicated a willingness to Kurt Andrews continue to serve as the council president designee. You might wonder, well, geez, these are 1-year terms. That is specified by the state statute on room tax commissions. That the appointments are by the city manager. They serve at the pleasure of the city manager. We've never yanked anybody off the board. We might address in the future a term limit. I don't know that 3 full terms of 1 year is quite appropriate. It makes sense when you got a 3 or 4 year term, but effectively, there's no statutory limit for this, and this existing room tax commission over the last 3 years has been over a lot of road when it comes to the dissolution, or sorry, not the dissolution, but Two Rivers and Manitowoc City decoupling from the MABCB, and Two Rivers putting together the Explore Two Rivers board and reaching agreement on a contract. So happy to recommend that continued membership of, if you'll note, the city manager is listed there. That is again because the city ordinance specifically provides that the city manager by position, not by name. I'll be happy to hand that one over to the new city manager, serves on that group. So I would ask for the council's approval of those appointments, recognizing that we'll have a handful of appointments coming to you, hopefully at the next regular meeting. We could stand to fill 2 alternate positions on the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's the only board I know of where we have designated alternates, but it really helps assure the quorum when hearings are scheduled on appeals. We have 1 more opening on the Business Improvement District Board, and I think that's out of the group. So thank you. And thanks to, we will be acknowledging with a resolution brought before the council at the next meeting, the people who have concluded their service on boards and committees, either at the end of their term or at any time over the past year.
Sounds good. So we're looking for a motion to approve the appointments and reappointments.
I'll I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Bonnie. Second by Shannon. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a voice vote. So all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. On to E, resolution amending the 2025 city budget capital projects fund to provide $25,000 in funding for replacing and upgrading control unit for audiovisual equipment serving the City Hall Council chambers, previously just discussed at an April 15th, 2025 council meeting.
Thank you. I did want to revisit this issue. There was no action taken at the April 15 meeting, which actually was the reorganizational meeting. I had put this request on there thinking this was a fairly emergent need. Understand the council had some concerns and questions, which I hope we've addressed at least in part. I've termed this, because I'm not a technical person, a control unit, but it is a unit that sits back in the closet back here behind council chambers. That is an encoder, decoder, and amplifier. It takes both analog and digital feeds, whether it's from the sound system or other sources, and puts them out on with an internet protocol or over the internet for the feed that ultimately goes out to charter cable in the community, and that's the way it typically goes to our Facebook and YouTube feeds. As you are aware, we are not operating right now off the in-house system here. The Magic Puck is serving us tonight and is working fine. Likewise, we with this unit out, we lack the ability to do live feed out to charter cable. It's not cheap. It's about a $25,000 replacement. You have a copy of the quote that Rick Powell, our IT director, got back in late March. We have, in follow-up discussion with the supplier or contractor, Heartland Business Systems, addressed making it a purchase for a fixed amount, about $10,000 for the equipment itself, and requiring that the installation costs be based on actual costs, not to exceed approximately $15,000. So we hope we come in below that, but would recommend allocating $25,000 for this. I do understand, we heard back on April 15 that the council might want to look at more extensive improvements and upgrades to the system. My understanding, keeping this piece of behind the scenes equipment would not rule out things like replacing the mics and other components of the system. I do think it would get us up and running a lot faster than the time it's going to take to consider proposals and evaluate a full system. So for that reason, you know, we invested, I think, $35,000, maybe it was $30,000 last year, and had a heck of a long wait to just get going back out over cable again. We're not doing that right now, and it just seems this is a worthy investment. It will allow next year for looking at the capital budget at further improvements. Again, the mics here aren't perfect, but a lot of it does relate to, they're very directional and aren't meant to pick up any of the ambient sound. There's also a possibility, because this does include an amplifier, not the amplifier that goes to the speakers in the room, as I understand it, but amplifying what goes out over in the digital world, that it might very well help the volumes going to our broadcast as well. I don't know, Rick, did you have any other comments you wish to share?
Pretty much covered it, yeah. It's the main switching in for visual and audio. Everything goes into it and out of it. Your central processing.
Yeah, so again,
and the other equipment is fine right now, except for the record, but we really don't use that right now. We record on YouTube anyway. And it is modular, so like, again, like Greg said, if for some reason you want to replace the discussion system with the microphones and everything, that can still be done without having to, it'll work, that will work with the new equipment that we're looking at right now.
it would mean replacing the air media component as well, which is the interface with how we share presentations.
Yeah, that's actually part of that switching unit is the air media system, so that would actually get replaced.
We can't speak Definitely as to availability, you may have noticed a few things going on with imported electronics lately that are beyond our control, but as of late March, it was about a month based on availability at that time. So I still think it's a prudent course forward. It could still mean other upgrades of council teams if necessary, but it would get us away from the point we are now, where I use the term dead in the water. We're not totally dead in the water, but we're highly dependent right now on that.
Yes, and especially since we paid all that money for Spectrum, and we're not broadcasting on Spectrum right now, it's just YouTube.
Yeah,
that kind of
I'm
hurts a little
surprised we haven't heard more from some.
Right.
But we have heard from some citizens say, when's it coming back?
Doug?
There's some optional, long-range confidence monitors and things like that, or is that included in?
My understanding was 2 optional monitors are not included in the pricing, or in the 25,000.
Okay.
No.
And then the $80,000 bid, is for everything to be replaced?
That won't be in the bond, yeah, they just totaled everything, but it is, they did say just we could do a piecemeal, we do just this project or, there was something listed there called wireless mics, and that was something I'm not sure that they should have even quoted us on, because that was basically to replace this handheld mic over here that we never even use, so, it's the discussion unit, or discussion system, which is another, that's actually what covers the microphone you're using, and those would be wireless over the system. They don't even use wired ones anymore.
You're confident in Heartland's ability to deliver quality?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Rick?
I should point out a budget amendment does require a 2/3 vote, and city attorney will have to help me on this one because we have a couple of council members absent tonight. I believe, certainly to be on the safe side, that should be 2/3 of the full body, so it would take 6 votes. So if they're not here tonight, I'll put it on a work session a week from tonight. But that, just so everybody understands the ground rules going in.
And where's the money coming from?
It is proposed,
You just recap that.
I believe we're bringing it from TID number 12, capital appropriation. We're
yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Oh, it actually was coming from asphalt resurfacing, street construction. Yeah. Although we may be back to you with an amendment at the next meeting to take some money into street construction, notably for sidewalk replacement, turning to TID number 12, where we frankly now have excess money budgeted because you might recall the pedestrian safety improvements on the Washington Street Bridge, which we anticipated including a barrier wall. Because of DOT nixing that design, that would help. But as this was presented, would come from the asphalt resurface.
This is City Attorney Sean Greg can almost add in here. Greg's correct. WSStat 6590 states we need a 2/3 vote of the entire membership, not just who's present, but the entire membership.
Okay.
Minimum of 6 votes in the affirmative for it to pass.
Gotcha. Thank you, Sean. So we're looking for a motion then to read reading and approve the resolution.
Make a motion to waive reading.
Thank you, Doug. Second by,
I'll second that motion.
sorry, I saw Tim. Any council discussion?
Just to be clear, this is a necessary thing to get us going right away. And it doesn't preclude us further investigating and improving overall.
Yes, that's correct.
I support that move.
I think it's, from the way I looked at the quotes and everything, you need this part to be able to add more to it. So I think there's a lot of updated features we can do in the future, but we need this part first, unfortunately.
It is about a 10-year-old system that we're operating from now.
Anyone else? No one else? This will be roll call vote now.
Scott Steckmesser.
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby, Bill Leclerc, Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulunis.
Motion passed.
And we'll be on this tomorrow, getting an order at least placed with the vendor, and we'll provide an update at the next regular meeting for you. And thank you.
Awesome. Number 12, for information only. Got this, or do I?
Yeah, we have a couple items I'd like to discuss with the council in closed session, which two items related to possible property acquisitions and a quick update on possible development project, which may require some follow-up for work session. I don't anticipate any formal action by council tonight upon reconvening an open session, although those of you that are here are welcome to hang out and see if there is, other than to adjourn for the evening.
Okay. What about number 12 for information only?
Oh, good Lord, I'm sorry, I skipped right over that. Would just remind you, because of the Memorial Day holiday, the work session is on Tuesday of next week. Among the things we will talk about are some possible development parameters for the former Eggers downtown property. We have had a couple of inquiries recently about that property. And also per direction that came out of the annual goals review, looking at the roughly 1.4 acre parcel at 18th and Hawthorne in the Columbus Industrial Park. Some discussion about looking at that for possible residential use. So those will be among the things. We'll probably at least talk about another budget amendment. I mentioned right now we're coming up a little short on our budget for sidewalk replacement capital, because there have been quite a few takers on the city's new policy of the city covering replacement costs where street tree roots raise up the sidewalk, and if the tree's in decent shape, we kind of like holding onto those mature trees. And happy to say that residents have been following up on that, but that does call into question whether we have enough money for a decent sidewalk replacement contract. So that's one of the things we'll talk about. And then of course, regular meetings on June 2 and 16.
Gotcha.
All I have.
Okay. On to 13, closed session. The City Council reserves the right to enter into closed session per Wisconsin statutes 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Tonight, discuss possible property acquisition and discuss possible assistance to development project. As Greg said, when we reconvene, we probably won't have anything that we'll be voting on. So we are looking for a motion to go into closed session. Thank you. Second by Shannon. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote now.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby, Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulunis, Scott Steckmeister.
Aye. We are in close.